So yeah, this is so I'm about to go live, so you can stay on this or you can put my AirPods in. Thank you so much. There you go. Welcome everyone. We got everyone here. My Wi-Fi good. So yeah, if you want to watch the full show, just go on my Twitch. Yeah. Hello. I'm about to go live with Patrick Bobilin. He is he's running for New York City Council in the Upper East Side district of Manhattan. Just this, very progressive candidate, and very progressive candidate. And then I'm going to be platforming. There we go. Hello.
How you doing, Walter?
How you doing? I'm just welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I see you got your Bitcoin, repping Bitcoin.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, you look like a huge fan of cryptocurrency. Am I right?
I bought some Dogecoin and it did some crazy jump through some hoops for me. So, I'm enjoying the fun. I spent $30 and it's now worth, 900 or something like that. So it's like, I don't know what that really means. I took out my initial 30, so I have no emotional attachments and I'm just along for the ride.
Fantastic. So, Patrick, you are running for city council.
And no, you're running for state assembly.
State assembly. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're not running for mayor.
Not running for mayor yet, ever.
Ever. Okay. Or ever.
Yeah. Right. Play this if I ever try to run for mayor.
Yes, we'll use this. This will be a perfect attack ad for you, to show what a big liar you are and everything. And you are running for what district?
76th Assembly District. So that's going to be the Upper East Side and Roosevelt Island. It's one of the few districts that's not super gerrymandered in the whole country. It's like a rectangle. Yeah,
well, because Manhattan's on a grid system, so it's very simple to put everything on the grid in Manhattan. It would actually be weird. It would actually be very noticeable. I mean, you have 88th Street follows 87th Street. It's 87th, 88th, so it's not. Yeah. So
theoretically.
Theoretically. So, it's not like, Queens where it's like 86 Road. So, yeah. And I first saw your video. It's of you, getting into it with, Curtis Sliwa's boys, down at Stonewall. Yeah. And so that was where I was turned on to you there, and I started following you. So, yeah. And so, and you seem very progressive, very on the left. Which is surprising to me because Upper East Side is very historically, it's probably one of the most conservative districts of Manhattan. It had, the most Trump supporters that I've met are on New York City's Upper East Side.
Hmm.
So that encompasses the entire Upper East Side, that district, right?
Yeah, and we also housed, I think, until very recently, the Metropolitan Republican Club, which is the only really functional Republican club in the city of New York. Well, not counting Staten Island, where people could get actually elected to office. Rudy Giuliani was supported through that club. They did a lot of work for Republicans in New York State and in New York City for a lot of years, but they went a little bit fashy and ended up becoming friendly with the Proud Boys, and they had a lot of violence outside of the Republican club, and I think they've relocated from 84th Street.
So the Republican Club is on 84th Street. I mean, this is something I should know, being, just for me, I just, I guess. So tell me about some of your platforms.
Yeah. So, one of the biggest issues that, faces the city, residents of the city, residents of all ages, is affordability. I think 20% of New Yorkers hold something like 60% of the wealth in the city, maybe more than that, close to 80. I read it today. I can't remember. But even on the Upper East Side, there are affordability issues. People live beyond their, or people, try to live beyond their means all the time. So there's, significations of wealth. But then there's the actuality. I have been volunteering in the neighborhood since I moved here, and I volunteer at the local soup kitchens. And I don't see people, there are some people that come from across the city, but there's a lot of people who are my neighbors, who are elderly, who are on fixed incomes. And so, housing is going to be a real issue here. Even though there are plenty of owners here, there's still a lot of seniors on fixed incomes. Rents dropped recently in this neighborhood because, it was so unaffordable. A bubble burst on the Upper East Side. And it's seeing a lot more of middle income, working people in their 30s moving here. And I think we're going to see a big change in what the demands are. But we've got some of the most, in the way that you say there's this stereotype of the Upper East Side, of being Republican, of being, wealthy. People don't consider just how fragile the affordable housing we have here is, how, fragile the, 5-story walk-ups that are all made of, rent-controlled, rent-stabilized apartments, where, people have lived for decades. People don't move out of the Upper East Side. It's a good neighborhood, but
isn't that sort of the problem where you have? Isn't that because New York City real estate market isn't free market enough, and isn't the problem all the rent stabilized and rent controlled apartments, and wouldn't the obvious answer just be the free market?
If the free market was the answer, we would see lower rents, because there's actually high supply and high demand, but there are vacancies all over the city. But our government control, our state laws have been privileging the landlords over tenants, the sellers over the buyers for so long that the market hasn't fixed itself. The market hasn't corrected itself, and the prices are astronomical, and so they sit vacant for years. So we build we knock down affordable housing or rent stabilized housing. We put up a tower, and it is opportunism. It just happens to be in the form of apartments, but it's really opportunism for foreign investors to build their wealth. So, that's one of the biggest issues here, is building for height and building for value and not building for density. Thankfully, we've got, a couple of projects in the works around this neighborhood, one of which is a transitional housing. And it's going to be the first, transitional housing for families, and people who are trying to get out of the shelter system and find some affordability. But it's going to be the first one that's here in a long time. And
isn't that going to just depress real estate prices if we put things here for not rich people and for people of lower income? I mean, isn't that just going to just destroy. I mean, people invested in this neighborhood. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, but mathematically speaking, if we want to talk about a market and you want to go towards the market, the smart money's in renting because 80% of New Yorkers are renters and only 20% own. So personally, I'm not super concerned about the 20% of people who own because they make their money on an investment, and an investment in the free market is rolling the dice. You can't complain when it loses value. But it's what's interesting is we've seen throughout the pandemic, a lot of homeowners, a lot of investors have complained and crowed in ways that, would make Wall Street, brokers vomit. They can't believe that their investment dare lost value. When you own something that's a human right, you take a risk in a free market. And I'm glad that, more and more elected officials and more candidates like myself are having the conversation that maybe housing is a human right and maybe housing should be guaranteed for all rather than seen as a luxury investment for people who don't have any concern for community or for building a better city. Wouldn't it be a more valuable city if everyone could afford to live here and contribute to the local economy rather than having to pay people in New York City that then spend all their money in housing and sort of day-to-day living costs in Jersey or on Long Island? What's better for the city economy, really?
That's my problem. It's just, if we're not nice to the billionaires, right, they're going to leave, and the billionaires and the millionaires. I mean, what happens when they leave the city and leave us all? I mean, so I thought we should be nice to them, and we need to sort of make it attractive for more billionaires. I mean, so we need like 432 Park Avenue, 1 West 57th. I mean, don't we need more of those places to just sort of attract more foreign investment?
So let's talk this through a little bit. Billionaires, right? More power and wealth than most people. Absolutely. We're afraid they're going to leave New York City. You don't think billionaires can do whatever the hell they want to do? They're billionaires. They can go wherever they want. Like, if they really wanted to save money, they'd be living and investing in New Jersey. It's just over the river. It's a 15-minute path train ride away, and it's much cheaper. No, they love New York. They want to be in New York. Whether it's because this is where their mistress lives or whether it's because, it's just where the fun is, they want to be in New York. If billionaires were going to leave, they would have left. Trust me.
So what do you think we can do to make this place more attractive and more fun for the billionaire class?
Make it more affordable for artists, make it more affordable for working people, because billionaires don't create culture. Billionaires profit on culture, but billionaires love culture and they need more things to profit off of, right? So why not invest in the arts, invest in more affordability for the people who make the cool shit that they want? Can I swear on here? I don't know.
You can do whatever you like, sir. So, it's freedom of speech.
Oh, good.
We're not going to let big tech censor us,
Oh, good.
But, that's actually one of the I didn't think a leftist such as yourself would say something that made so much sense for billionaires. Because we all think, my friends and I, we get together, say, what can we do to make more billionaires come to New York City? Mm-hmm. And there's always the fear that we're losing, our billionaire class and that they'll move away. So, it's thank you for that. That's.
It's just like they say, they're not making new billionaires. There's going to be fewer and fewer billionaires over time as wealth gets concentrated. So you got to hang on to the ones you love. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, you don't want them moving because, they're moving to Texas now. Joe Rogan is, he's moved to Texas. He's not a billionaire, but I'm just saying he, would sort of start that exodus, and a lot of people move from California. What do you say to the criticism that, there's just a lot of anarchy going on in these democratically run cities?
There has been decades of divestment, as we've seen in these democratically run cities, currently democratically run cities. If we look at where things are, let's say in the Midwest right now, there is thankfully, an improvement in the job market. There's an improvement in in people's financial status. But over the last year, there was a massive depression. Why? Because people weren't being invested in, because communities weren't being invested in. Under Republican control, it just so happens that we create these massive tax breaks for business owners and businesses. But again, just like housing, we're giving a lot to the smallest group of people. And in what part of a democracy do you give the most to the least number of people? Yet we give these massive tax breaks and we allow them to hoard and concentrate wealth, in ways that don't give back to the communities and don't give back to the economies and don't give back to the working people who help them build that wealth. Because what is a billionaire but thousands of people under them who are doing the work?
Someone who worked really hard. They worked really hard. They're smarter than all of us, and they're going to save us all. They're going to shoot us off into space pretty soon.
I'd like to meet a billionaire who's also sweeping the floor, who's also managing the files, who's also handling the day-to-day operations of whatever business they are. I don't think you can work any harder than a janitor does, than a teacher does, than nurses do. And yet they're not billionaires. So if they work so hard, how come people still work harder than them?
So that leads us to another one, the minimum wage. What do you think the minimum wage should be for New York City?
The minimum wage in New York City should be $29 an hour. That number is based on what it costs for one person to afford a 2-bedroom apartment. Now, I come from growing up with a single mom, a single parent, and there's no one in this world harder working than single parents, and I don't think very many people would dispute that. And when they come home from work, they deserve to have their own space, whether it's for their mental health, their physical health, if their child is sick, or just for, the sense of ownership at the end of the day. Like, what feels better than to someone who's worked hard than to be able to enjoy that wealth, as you're talking about billionaires, to enjoy the fruits of those labors. So if one person is taking care of a household, as used to happen in times past, in the old days, if we want to get back to that, we got to be willing to go to $29 an hour, so that our hardworking, working class single parents can afford a separate bedroom from their kids. They can have an enjoyable life, and they can secure their mental health. And what do you do if a child's sick? Do you want them staying in the same room as a parent? You need them in the workforce, as you might argue. And so you'd want them to stay healthy and live in a separate bedroom from their child. And once you set this minimum wage, what you do is you index housing costs to that minimum wage, so that if housing costs citywide go up 10%, so does minimum wage.
So, but what's going to happen to small businesses? They're just going to suffer if they're not able to pay people. What's the minimum wage now in New York City?
I think it's $15 an hour. It's headed towards 17.
So if they can't pay their all their workers minimum wage, how are they supposed to make money and operate?
Well, they might have to cut back on the profits and the bonuses that they give, and we might need to disincentivize all the tax breaks that we give them, because we're going to have to leave more money in their pockets, so that they can pay their staff. What's happening right now, companies like Walmart are actually taxing us, the taxpayers, when they pay their workers less than a minimum wage, because a high percentage of people who work at places like Walmart and these huge employers, these like great businesses, these billionaires, they're actually charging the government for every one of their workers, so that their workers can afford housing, so that their workers can afford healthcare, so that their workers can afford food, to put food on the table. So many of their workers receive government benefits, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that they are not required to pay they're not required to pay a living wage. This concept that, a minimum wage is for teenagers, is for people who are just getting into the job market, is a fallacy. Because why is McDonald's open during school hours if it's only a place for teenagers to work?
Okay, so all right. So basically, you're saying that if what we should do is close McDonald's while school is out, and then open it back up so that the students that are working there can go work at McDonald's.
If we're going to use the argument that minimum wage is for teenagers and for people just entering the job market, and if we believe that adults don't live on these low wages, these 7.25 an hour minimum wage jobs in places in the Midwest, if we believe that they don't deserve more than that, because those jobs are not for them, then those jobs shouldn't be open when the people who are supposed to be working those jobs should be in school.
Got it. So, all right. So close the schools. Yeah, because I think it's, we should have more kids being homeschooled anyway.
So we close the schools and we open McDonald's.
Close the schools, open McDonald's, and then just have, more homeschooling. And then that way,
maybe we give free food to teachers. The teachers come in, they do a lesson while they're in line.
Well, most of these teachers have to, get a job to supplement their income anyway.
Right.
So,
right.
So then you just have them, you just, that way it makes it easier for them to schedule when they're going to be working at McDonald's. It makes.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll work out super well.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Absolutely.
We'll end up in a place where there's no people supplementing their income through crime or black market work or anything like that. No, I'm sure that all the people who are working full time at these low wage jobs will be, very excited about this development, especially the ones who are parents. Yeah, so they can work side by side with their kids.
Fantastic. Absolutely. Yeah,
family values, right?
Because that's the free market. There's sort of, that's sort of the freedom that this country has. You're free to sell your own labor. You're free to sell your labor. However you see fit. And by selling, you're free to sell yourself. Really. I just. So
what is the goal? What is the goal here? What is the goal for someone in one of those positions? How do they get out of it? In your mind, in this world?
Like you said, you invested in Dogecoin, and your $30 investment is now $900 because of Elon Musk going on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. I appreciate Elon Musk swindled a bunch of people so that I can get $900. But the thing is, $900 is not going to pay my rent. So I'm just trying to do the math here. If our average income in the country is about 50,000 and the poverty level is about 35,000, seems like there's a whole lot of people living real close to, or dare I say, below the poverty level. Does that seem like a successful business practice to you? Does that seem like businesses succeeding? If
it seems like businesses would be, business would be booming. You have labor costs are down, and you have a lot of room for, foreign investment and a lot of entrepreneurs to come in and start businesses for very low wages.
Right, but do you think there's an infinite amount of money in the world, or is there a finite amount of money in the world?
They just printed more money. Obviously everyone on the left thinks that, we can just print more money and just keep printing and printing. But yeah, they're, unless you're creating wealth, there is a finite amount of, of wealth in the world. So, yeah.
So how is wealth created in your mind?
Through hard work, ingenuity. Sometimes you get some help from your parents, and yeah.
So the wealth is created through hard work. Who does the work?
Labor, the people and the executives, the venture capitalists. They're doing the work of trying to find a good investment where they can just inject a lot of money into it.
So the Waltons, let's say, I don't even know if they still own Walmart. So the Waltons are responsible for stocking the shelves in Walmarts around the world
Well, I mean,
individually.
they're providing a lot of capital to start this venture.
Right. But if they're not actually the ones stocking the shelves, if they're not the ones who are helping customers, if they're not the ones who have to manage the customers, who have to mop the floors, what right do they have to any of the money?
Well, I mean, they're the ones that purchased the land and put out all that capital to get things started.
Yeah, but they're not still managing it. So isn't it kind of offensive that the workers have to basically give part of their wages?
I mean, have you ever been in charge of like a $250 million portfolio? I mean, it's a lot of work.
Right. But who makes that portfolio valuable?
So the market,
because the portfolio, the printed paper, the actual portfolio, that's not super valuable. What's that all hinged on? Isn't that hinged on the people who are driving the trucks, who are stocking the shelves, who are cooking the food?
The hardworking men and women of America, yes.
Do you think they work harder or the same as a CEO?
I mean, some of these CEOs just work around the clock. I mean, if you look at Elon Musk, I mean, he's always tweeting. He's always, letting us know when to buy Bitcoin, when to sell it, when to, purchase more Dogecoin.
Okay. So let's say, okay.
I mean, sometimes I've seen him tweet at like 2 a.m. and I'm like, oh my God, you're still up?
He's still working. Okay. Yeah. So I'm with you. Let's say Elon Musk is a cyborg. Let's say he works 16 hours a day, whereas like your average lazy person like you or I might work 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Okay. So you worked 8 hours mopping the floors in a giant Walmart superstore. You're sweating. You're done for the day. Body aches, right? You had a big, nice lunch, can of Coke. You drive home, right? Now, do you think Elon Musk breaks a sweat, hurts his body, even after working 16 hours on his phone?
I mean, I don't know. I don't pretend to know what he's got going on with Tesla and SpaceX.
Okay. Well, let's say that he does. Let's say that he's at the end of the day, he's real sweaty from tweeting, writing memes, all this, Let's say he's tired and sweaty. And so is the janitor, but he worked twice as many hours. So let's say in your world, he deserves twice as much money.
Doesn't he absolutely, yes. Give Elon Musk twice as much money
as the janitor.
As the janitor.
Or give the janitor half as much money as Elon Musk.
Oh. I mean, then what are we going to pay Elon Musk then? I mean, how's he going to build a rocket ship?
That's our math problem. Do we pay Elon Musk 90% of the money? No, because he didn't do 90% of the work. He did twice as much as the other guy. So mathematically, let's say it's 66-33, right? Out of 100, right? So if we give Elon Musk $66 at the end of the day, this guy's got to get 33, right? But that's not really how it goes, is it? You and I both know that the average CEO makes how much? 200 times what the average worker makes?
It's usually, I mean, they usually have low salaries, but it's usually their salary is tied up in stock options.
Okay. So, I mean, let's just go by salary. Let's just say other stuff's a fringe benefit.
I mean,
do you think Elon Musk's salary is?
The CEO of Etsy, only got paid. The salary is only it's a New York company. It was only $300,000. But Etsy had a banner year this year, and he got paid, I think, $20 million in stock options bonuses.
Now I wonder, $300 million for that CEO. Do you think their average file clerk got $150,000?
Probably not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So you're basically saying Elon Musk, he works really hard all day. He's like a cyborg. He's making memes. he's tweeting. So the janitor that works at his company, if only he could be a little bit more entrepreneurial and start making memes and tweeting a little bit more, he could generate the type of wealth that Elon Musk has.
Well, but then we've got two people making memes and nobody mopping the floor. So all these workers are necessary.
Okay, so then so you're saying, so the workers would sort of take turns tweeting and making memes, basically.
You could do this, but wouldn't you say if everybody's got a hand on the same job, everybody gets paid equally?
I mean, so you're going to get so where are you going to find someone, with like the engineering degree to like run, SpaceX and Neuralink and, and sell PayPal and, and stuff like that?
There's tens of thousands of engineering students who graduate every year. I'm sure there's a big market. We cut down a little bit on Elon Musk's time tweeting, give him a mop and a broom, hand the phone over to the janitor. And then we even things out and we pay everybody at SpaceX the same amount of money. That spreads the wealth around. We got more people who are wealthy than ever. Why make one guy? If we all want to be millionaires in this country, why have one billionaire when you can have 1,000 millionaires?
I mean, then what's going to happen to the price of Dogecoin?
Do you care?
I mean, that's it's a huge part of my portfolio at the current moment. Elon Musk told me to buy some Dogecoin, so I did it.
Well, maybe you should work. Maybe pick up a mop.
He's a billionaire.
If you want to make money,
yeah,
I hear you. But if you want to make money, what is a better feeling than making money off of a hard day's work? Do a hard day's of work. Go to a farm. It's almost apple picking season. It's strawberry picking season in New York State. Join some of these migrant farmers. Do a day's work for once instead of screwing around on your phone.
I'm no stranger to hard work. I over my summers, in college, I always, work at my dad's company and stuff, and I did a lot of the things, like filing papers and getting people coffee and stuff like that. So,
so you're experienced. You could do that today. You could work at Starbucks. You know all about coffee.
Yep, absolutely. That's a great one.
So just do a hard day's work instead of messing around on your phone. Who cares,
Yeah, I like the strategy for the sort of the janitorial people at these companies. I think that's an effective strategy for their upward mobility.
Right, and it teaches someone like Elon Musk a hard day's work. It keeps him close to his roots, close to where he came from. Came from those South African mines. I don't know if he actually worked in the mines, but let's just say he did. And it's that hard day's work from his family. Hiring slave labor in the mines, whether they managed them or directly or not, or had someone else standing at the entrance with a gun. I don't know. But let's just say he was also, got some dirt under his fingernails at some point. Whether it's dried blood of somebody else or dirt from mining. But these things are very important. And I think it's important that we keep our billionaires, real. And if we keep giving them all this money, what's their incentive to work? Are they going to be the innovators we expected them to be? Maybe we should knock them down a peg every once in a while and really work hard. Speaking of
incentive to work, right now there's a labor shortage throughout all these states. You have businesses that they're ready to hire people, and there's just no workers showing up.
Well, I think Elon Musk still shows up to work. So, if there's a labor shortage, why are we allowing someone like Elon Musk not to pick up a broom every once in a while? The work's got to get done. We need people serving coffee. Elon, hop to it. He's the hardest working man in America. He's one of the richest men in the world. He should be doing what is he making the wealth from? If I've got to wait in line for a coffee for 10 minutes.
Okay, but all right. So let's say, we do take him down a peg, but, what about when, the Earth gets too hot and, you need a ride on his spaceship to Mars?
I think I'll have all kinds of other problems, boils, and having to find suntan, sunblock, and fashionable shorts. I don't know. I'm not too worried about the rocket. I mean, I don't like to fly all that. Do you like to fly? Who likes to fly?
Yeah, point taken. Yeah. Yeah, and then
months on an airplane. Like, have you ever taken a 5-hour flight? Imagine 5 months.
Well, I mean, it would just be like in the movies where you just go into this sort of not cryogenic. It's that type of thing where you're just submerged in the sort of amniotic fluid, for and you're sort of in this suspended state for what is it? How long does it take to get to Mars? Like 20 years, 30 years?
I don't know. I thought it took months, but maybe it takes years.
Something like that, yeah. But you're sort of bathed in amniotic fluid. I mean, that's assuming that all of this isn't like a simulation.
That sounds disgusting. Like, who would sign up for this? I don't even. Who likes to? Do you like to stand in the rain? Like, no.
Yeah, I mean that's point taken. So
let's spend our money on something more reasonable, like creating jobs. Like all these car manufacturers are being forced to stop using fossil fuels. So let's do some fun stuff and create some more green energy and really boost that economy. Before China beats us.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we do need to beat China, and that's that's a big thing. And speaking of which, behind you it says you have a banner that says "Defund the police."
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. What's your platform?
Okay, let's put it in terms that might relate to our conversation so far. Let's say you had all these coins, right? You had Bitcoin, you had Litecoin, you had Dogecoin. Dogecoin, let's pretend in a terrible world, Dogecoin is tanking. Yet everybody loved Dogecoin for so long. They made movies about Dogecoin. There were TV shows about Dogecoin. People grew up believing in the power of Dogecoin. People love dogs.
Yeah.
Let's pretend it's tanking and people are saying we got to keep investing in Dogecoin. Yeah. Let's say someone was saying, you know what? Instead of building more roads, instead of funding schools, the city's going to invest in Dogecoin as it's tanking. What would you say?
I mean, right now the whole point is we want Dogecoin to hit $1.
Sure.
So,
but let's pretend it's
not.
We
need to get that money from schools and municipal infrastructure in order to save Dogecoin.
In this scenario, yeah, because we have to save Dogecoin. But let me tell you, at the end of the day, this Dogecoin, in this analogy, the NYPD, is not only wasting our money. We haven't cut their budget in years. We keep giving them more and more money. And what are we seeing? We're seeing shootings under their watch. We're seeing, poverty spiking under their watch. We're seeing them used to just, harm and impinge upon people's First Amendment rights. Doesn't that get your blood boiling? And there are people who say we should give them more money or the same amount of money. To impinge upon our New Yorkers' First Amendment rights, I find that to be deeply offensive, honestly. Like to hurt people's ability to express the First Amendment. I say we take some of that money away, because why should we keep, rewarding terrible behavior? I don't believe in rewarding terrible behavior. You don't keep giving money to a Dogecoin that's not going up. So that's what defund the police means. In this analogy, it means investing smarter. It's a smarter investment.
All right, I think I know what you're doing. So the police are Dogecoin.
Let's say in this analogy, there are police or a Dogecoin that's tanking.
All right, and we need Elon Musk to stop tweeting about Dogecoin, and so Elon Musk stops tweeting about. Who's Elon Musk in this analogy?
Elon Musk is, the police unions and the political power structure that makes money off of the police. So there's a lot of people invested in policing. You have companies who are invested in software. You have companies who are invested in weaponry. We have companies who are invested in the cars that they drive. You have companies that want to see the police force grow. Why? Because the police force has a huge retirement fund, retirement policies. So that's all that money is in Wall Street. Wall Street wants to see the police grow. They have a lot of financial interests who keep wanting us to keep investing in the police, or in this case, a tanking Dogecoin. And we, the citizens, have to stand up and say, hey, you're impinging upon our First Amendment rights. You're wasting our money. We don't have enough money for schools. We don't have enough money for the trains. We don't have enough money for all the things we need. Everybody else is tightening their belt, and high on the hog NYPD dares ask for more money. You've got everybody tightening their belt, but the NYPD wants to grow. Defund it. It's a waste of money. Because at the end of the day, for how many years have we been funding the police? Higher and higher, more and more money. They keep asking, these fat cat cops keep asking for more and more money. Have they ended crime in your lifetime or mine?
Well, I think it's, it's because people aren't respecting police enough. I mean, that's the thing. So, I mean, because of, the mainstream media, people are losing respect for the police. And
I'm losing respect for the police because they're not ending crime. Why would you respect someone who's not doing their job? Isn't their job to end crime?
Yeah. I mean,
you're gonna respect somebody who's not doing their job.
Okay, so we give them less money and then ask for more.
And ask for more what?
More for them to do more as police. So if we give them less money, is crime going to go up?
No, because under their watch, they've got more money than God, and crime is climbing right now. So maybe our solution isn't police. We need to consider that we are smart enough, we're grown up enough to stop believing in Batman. There's no police standing on the corner of a building like Batman that jumps down and stops crime. Police get called when something happens. They file a report. They're overpaid bureaucrats with guns. They don't know how to use their guns. They don't know how to file paperwork. They don't stop crime. I'm trying to figure out what police do in any given day. These seem like terrible workers. I think we need to give the keys to the gun to the janitor. So at least the janitor's doing work.
So basically what the police are missing is, a superhero billionaire to really come in and sort of, and so there's break through the bureaucratic, strangleholds for them to,
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't support vigilantism because, again, does that end crime? What causes crime? Crime is caused by people who are desperate and in need. Right now, we've got a problem that we're not talking about where, gangs have been very deeply empowered by the pandemic because people are reaching extreme levels of poverty. Gang bosses are turning into loan sharks. All these shootings and so much violence is coming from people who owe people money. And we've got billionaires hoarding the money. We've got the NYPD hoarding the money. We want shootings to go down, correct? Right? We agree?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
okay. And we agree that billionaires are hoarding the money. We agree that police funding is going up. And we agree we want to end shootings. Well, why give more money to the NYPD who aren't doing anything? Why give the billionaires more money who aren't doing anything? And give the communities back money? Because what's missing in this scenario? Our schools are underfunded, right? People don't have health care, right? People can't pay their rent, right? People have mental health issues. There's drug addiction. There's all sorts of things. And we're not paying to fix any of it. We're just paying cops to stand around on their phones posting to Facebook all day. Seems like a waste of money. Like, I wouldn't want them in my company.
I mean, I saw, a lot of people are sort of bashing the police, but, I saw a video of these cops and they were playing basketball with some, inner city children.
Mm-hmm. Wait. You mean that cops on the job were being paid to play basketball? Is that
No,
what they're paid to
I think
do?
they took the because sometimes you see them and they're not in uniform, and they do it like to volunteer. But I think I've seen ones where like I think they're just holding, their gun is still holstered, or maybe they put the gun down or something. They sort of just took a little break to play basketball with some kids.
This seems like a huge waste of money.
All right, so
I wouldn't be paying these cops to be playing basketball.
right.
Aren't they supposed to be stopping crime in this scenario?
All right, so we have them sort of clock out. So we have the cops clock out when they go to play basketball with these kids.
They can play basketball all they want, but how did we stop crime today?
We're just not on the job. I mean that's fair.
Yeah, everybody can play basketball all they want, but at what point does crime get ended?
So we sort of get rid of these cops that are playing basketball on the taxpayer money, basically.
Yeah.
And just tell them, like,
get rid of them.
You can play basketball on your own time.
Yeah.
That's not really what
wherever you want.
For. You're supposed to be responding to
right.
calls for that's fair. I mean, I guess no one talks about that in the the mainstream media with defunding the police. How much taxpayer money is going towards some cop buying some kid an ice cream cone or playing basketball.
Well, and here's another one. You've heard these stories. I'm not making them up. That cops do things that are sometimes very illegal, and they go to court over it, and they get convicted, and then the victim is awarded money. Who pays that money?
The city.
Yeah, us. We pay that money. You go to a doctor, right? Let's say you go to a dentist, and when they're supposed to be doing a normal filling, they crack your tooth. Do you then pay for the cracked tooth?
Absolutely not. I mean,
the dentist pays for it.
The doctor has medical insurance. The dentist has medical insurance. And his insurance company pays for it, and then his premiums go higher for the next year.
Yeah. So if you want to support wealth, if you want to support pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, that's what a doctor does. That's what a dentist does. Well, why don't these cops, these lazy cops, pull themselves up by their bootstraps and either become a dentist? Yeah. Sure, a lot of money there, very friendly, profession, or they pay for their own insurance so that we, the city, don't have to pay. Every time we walk down the street, it's like these cops are reaching in their damn pockets. Imagine if Elon Musk did that. You wouldn't be a fan.
Oh no, he does that because it's his Tesla and everything. All those are all built with government subsidies. So yeah, I mean that's sort of, it's good because that's sort of an investment. You're giving. I mean, I don't. You don't really understand economics, but how it works is he gets subsidies to build the factory for his batteries, for the lithium batteries for Tesla. And that and the solar panels, and that money goes towards maintaining the factory, building the factory, but it also goes towards shareholder profits.
Wait, our money goes to them?
Yeah,
like this guy.
I mean, yeah, and then that way.
So wait a second. We don't even get to vote on Elon Musk or anything he does, and he takes all this money?
I mean, yeah.
That sounds to me like the NYPD. I don't get to vote on the police commissioner. Look, I'm saying abolish all this. Abolish Elon Musk. Abolish the police. Because look, where's your hard-earned money going? It's going to these people who don't let you have a say. I can't go into your house and start watching your TV and tell you can't watch your TV.
No, because this is America, and if you want to watch, Real Housewives, it's your right. I don't watch it.
Elon Musk and the NYPD seem suspiciously un-American. Think about that for a second. Suspiciously un-American.
I mean, but a lot of them wear the shirts that have American flags on them, and they sing the national anthem
Right.
when if you see them like at like a baseball game or football game. I mean, they're all standing and putting their hand over their heart for the national anthem, and
Isn't
they
that
say the
exactly
pledge
the
of allegiance.
behavior? Isn't that exactly the behavior that someone who is pretending to be American when they were very un-American would do to try to convince you, right? You ever see those cartoons where someone tries to fit in, so they dress like the group or whatever, but they don't really fit in, they don't really belong there,
Oh, it's
and they're
like
like the
that
loudest
video
voice?
game that's popular amongst the kids these days, the Among Us. And basically, so you have to look on the security cameras and Among Us to find out who did the murder. And then, sometimes the person who's the imposter can
Mm.
sort of vaporize and
Mm.
go through the vents to get into another room after they killed someone.
Mm.
So it makes it harder for you to find out who the imposter is. So, but that's because it's the vent system in Among Us allows that to happen.
Right.
So I guess if we got rid of the vent system, and
Mm.
then they wouldn't be able to like go into the next room after they
Yeah.
killed someone, and they'd sort of be
So you're
stuck
saying
there.
the police are the murderer here. The police are the murderers here
Mm.
because they're the ones who are trying to fit in. They're saying, "Oh, we're so American. Oh, we care so much about community. Look at us playing basketball." This seems very suspicious to me.
Got it.
This seems
Yeah.
very suspicious, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've only played Among Us like a few times, but I feel like if I got better at it, I could really, I mean, we could talk about this after, I've sort of played it more and I could figure it
Okay.
out. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
And
going
then,
to tell you though, I think it's the cops that are the murderers in this scenario.
I mean, listen, we don't, you have to look at sort of the security footage and then you
Mm.
determine who was in which room. So, I mean,
So this is the body cam footage
you
in
have to
this
see the
scenario.
entire video, basically.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say that once they release the entire security video or body cam footage, we're going to find out that the cops are murderers. The NYPD are murderers. Would you say that? Would you say the NYPD are murderers?
I
Or would
mean,
you say murderers are the NYPD? How would you say it?
well, I mean,
What's
so
the correct sentence structure?
usually what you do when you find out someone's a murderer is you put them in like the airlock and then you release them into space through the
Hmm.
airlock, and that's sort of how the game ends for Among Us.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I mean, yeah, if you look at the security footage and you found out that you're like, hey, that's it, they did
Hmm.
it. This is the imposter. Then yeah. So
So
basically, you're
then,
saying the imposters are the ones that are. If you're looking for the imposter, you look for the people that are standing for the national anthem and
mm-hmm,
at the football and baseball game.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. They're the most suspicious.
Got it.
Right?
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
think about it. If you
So
were
you
a
start
terrorist, would
there.
you go around saying, I'm a terrorist? Would you try to dress different? No.
Yeah.
You'd go to a football game, you'd go to NASCAR, you'd carry around a gun, you'd post on Facebook, but you'd be the terrorist all along. So the terrorists are the NYPD, or the NYPD are terrorists. I'm sorry, English isn't my first language. How would you say that?
Oh, where are you from?
Guam.
You're from Guam?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's we it's what is that? It's a commonwealth.
It's a territory of the US, yeah.
It's not even a common, like Puerto Rico is a commonwealth, right? Guam is
Yeah. Puerto Rico's it's a territory, kind of like the U.S. Virgin Islands.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I love the Virgin Islands. It's a great place. So
Yeah, they don't get enough, votes though. Do you realize that they don't get to vote? It's not even democratic. It's very, very un-American of us.
Well, I mean, the American way, if you shouldn't let everyone vote. I mean, that's sort of, you let too many people vote, then then all of a sudden you have socialism.
If you let everyone vote?
Yeah.
Is that in the Constitution? Which part of the Constitution was
that's
that?
why we have to have stricter voter ID laws. Because if
Did you get this from Hamilton?
No, but like if well, in Hamilton, I mean those people founded our country, and you had to own land, you had to women weren't allowed to vote. It's just a bunch of, well, I mean, I want to say white men, but I mean, I saw Hamilton a few times, and it wasn't. I don't think there's any white people in the cast.
Mm.
I don't, what are we? So yeah, yeah. So I don't think the cast member. Okay, so the cast members, I mean, they can vote. It's fine. They can just vote however they want. But the people that the cast is based on, they could all vote, but I think they were all white.
Mm. So, does everyone in your family own land?
I mean, pretty almost. I mean, if you're, I mean, if you didn't
Who in
own
your
it,
family
you've
doesn't
inherited
own land?
it. You've inherited it. So that's,
Sure.
yeah.
Who in your family doesn't own land?
I mean, just I guess
Like a brother or sister?
you can't own land if you're a child and stuff like that. So sort of my nieces and nephews, they don't own land yet. But obviously, when they get their shit together, and obviously, my aunts and uncles will help them with the down payment, and stuff like that.
But do you think they should vote between the time they're 18 and when they inherit that land?
I mean, yeah, listen, I think if you're gonna rent, I mean, I guess it's fine if you're renting. You can still vote, I guess. But historically, it's just, you look at the numbers in the last election. I mean, how many people? A lot of people voted, and so they voted for socialism. So I feel like if you have too many people voting, you're just going to get.
Wait. Did we become socialist? When did we become socialist?
When we elected Biden, or when the media called the election for Biden.
Here's what's interesting. I'm a socialist, and I would never call Biden socialist. So I'm wondering where you get it from. It's really confusing to me because I go to the socialist meetings. I've never seen him there. He's not a member of the socialist groups I'm in. So I'm really wondering.
Well, no, I'd seen him. So I get, listen, I don't trust like the mainstream media. The mainstream media, that's what they want you to believe, that Biden's just like us and he's sort of down the middle. But, I've seen a lot of memes from my aunt's MLM Facebook group chat, and it's, just tons of them saying he's a socialist, a deep state Democrat, just totally in bed with China.
And those they have political science degrees, or
no? They're just like you said. They're just hardworking Americans, and they haven't been sort of indoctrinated by these Marxist sex colleges, that are just proliferated through the education system.
What does Marxism mean to you? Define that.
So it's like, so basically you have like some people at the top, and they're not really doing anything, or you have people that are staying home, and you have like a bunch of people doing all the labor, and that's that's sort of that's Marxism. And also, like,
wait, isn't that what happens with the Waltons and Elon Musk? So wait, is Elon Musk a Marxist? Because he sits at home tweeting, and you have all these people doing all the labor.
Elon Musk might. I mean, I think it sounds like Marxism.
I think you need to look into it.
So I think the only way to sort of end this sort of Marxist agenda is for the workers to collectivize and sort of overthrow sort of the Elon Musks of this country. Otherwise, socialism is going to win.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only way, really, is to take that all that money Elon Musk is sitting on, not doing anything all day but on his phone, and give it to the workers, who are the hardworking people who are pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. I mean, what better way to reward the workers who are pulling themselves up by their bootstraps than Elon Musk's head on a table? Congratulations, workers.
That's the only way to save capitalism, I guess. I mean, you are right. I mean, that's sort of, to get rid of these Marxists, the Elon Musks, and, they're just going to destroy capitalism that way. And I mean, and just create this, socialist state. So, yeah. And it shouldn't, the Walton. So, yeah. So you're saying the Walton family, Elon Musk, all communists, they've all got to go.
I mean, it sounds like it from your definition. They're not even communists. They're Marxists, right? Yeah, they're just sitting around while people do all this work.
Yeah, it's like
who don't get the
Stalinism.
money.
It's like
It's,
Stalinism.
oh, you got to get rid of them, I say. I mean, here's the thing. Bill Gates has all this money. When's the last time you bought a Windows computer?
Mm,
Who has a Windows machine? When's the last time he did anything for the world?
I mean, I think he's making all of his money on the microchips in the vaccine.
Well, that just began, so he should have to start from scratch. Don't you think?
Yeah, that's point taken. Yeah. Hmm. That's this has been amazing. It's been really really enlightening.
Yeah, I hope I've given you some things to think about.
Yeah,
I
thank
mean,
you.
maybe we need to topple Elon Musk and give that money to his workers. Just consider it.
Yeah, in order to sort of end this Marxist agenda that he's sort of pulling, and who cares about this fucking spaceship? I mean, I thought,
I know.
if I retweeted him enough, and if I just defended him in the comment section of Instagram enough, that he would sort of notice that and be like, all right, like I'm going to give you a seat on my spaceship when I fly off to Mars after while the Earth is exploding and stuff.
Just like a man, ask you for everything and they'll just leave.
Yeah.
Well,
this has been really enlightening. So everyone, all 5 people watching, just Patrick Bobilin, you're running for New York City or New York State Assembly?
New York State Assembly, because
New
that's
York
where all of our money is controlled. So I want to go where the money is, because who wouldn't, right?
So tell me the difference between this New York State Assembly. Explain it to people that don't know.
Yeah. So the analogy would be that the New York State Assembly is like the House of Representatives, and we have a New York State Senate, and that's like a Senate, and we have a governor, and that's like your president. So that's the sort of makeup. And so running for assembly, there are more assembly members than there are senators to start out. There are 151 assembly seats. And I'm running to represent the Upper East Side as it sees a strong wave of progressivism running through what is seen as a tired, old, more conservative neighborhood. It's actually a lot more people here than you might think who really want to see, progressives win and want to see things change and want to see, wealth back in the hands of the people who make it, wealth back in the hands of the people who work for it. They want to see trains that run more efficiently. They want to see police who actually do their job. And they want to see people getting the things that they need also. They want to see people who are in crisis get their needs met. People who need a social worker get a social worker instead of getting a bullet from a cop. I mean, what does it do to someone who's in trauma to arrest them? What does it do to a homeless person to arrest them? These things aren't crimes. And, we're seeing a wave of people who want to redefine how we've been looking at crime and criminal justice and the root causes of the problems in society that we all want to see fixed. We all are on the same page. We all want a better, safer, more equitable society. I don't think anybody wants things to be less equal. But we have different ways to get there. And one of the key ways to do that is to distribute the wealth from the Elon Musks in the world and put it back in the hands of the people who are running on the factory floor, who are doing the work every day.
Fantastic. Okay. So, if do you want to plug any platforms or, like your Instagram, your this, where do, what do people do to support you?
They can follow me at Patrick4 NYC, or no, it's FOR. It's PATRICK FOR NYC. That's on Instagram, on Twitter, and I think on Facebook as well. They can see my hot takes as I argue with all the people in power. If you like someone who's going to shake things up, if you like someone who doesn't take shit, if you like someone who will verbally wrestle with the people in power, the fat cats who haven't done anything for us in far too long, well, then I'm your guy. Imagine a young Bernie Sanders. That's me.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Yeah. The kids, they like Bernie Sanders.
They do. And, people on the left and the right agree that, look, this guy has been fighting for justice and equity for so long. Maybe there's a reason. And I think it's important that people take up his work and continue it, because I think we all agree that everyone deserves health care, housing, job that suits them, that pays them fairly.
Fantastic. Absolutely. All right. Well, you know what? Well, thank you, Patrick. And you know what? When's the big day? So is it the
It's a
primaries
year.
in June?
Uh, no, the June primaries are for the city. My primary is in a year.
Fantastic. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, man. Well, you know what? I'm gonna try and platform you as best I can. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Walter.
All
Have a
right.
great
Well,
day.
thank you, everyone. And wait a sec. Hold on. I'm just gonna end the broadcast, and we'll talk more. Cheers.